Hello, welcome back to another TCG video. This time in our series of characters carried by Mavuika and Sidlali, we have a special quest, Mualani. Give it out for here. No, but seriously, Mavuika and Sidlali can carry I think any Hydro, Cryo or Pyro character can simply be carried by the combination of the two. And today, yes, as I said, we have Mualani as our special quest. So, what is there to say about the deck? Well, firstly, Sidlali is not actually needed here. You can replace Sidlali with whichever character you like. The actual combination here that works incredibly well is Mavuika and Mualani, and we'll get to that as the game goes on. Now our first opponent here, you can see, well, this is a meta deck. I mean, you could have Kachina instead of Emily, but this combination they are using works just as well. And once again, because I know exactly what that deck is about, I of course round one I play my Arcane. I saved it just for this occasion because I don't want Mavuika to be taken out here too early. And this right here, this is what carries this whole deck. Because with this technique, not only can you trigger Mualani's burst to quickly snipe, though that doesn't happen often, but it can be used for that. But mostly, this thing right here can be used for a fast swap and also a dice fixer. Basically making a combination where you start with Mualani, switch to Mavuika, switch back to Mualani, switch back to Mavuika, switch back to Mualani, and suddenly you can nuke the opponent's character. Also here you can see that AF Resistance kept Mavuika alive, as it was planned out to do. Here also I saved some of the cryo dice if I, felt like I needed Sidlali's skill, but well, you see what happens. Of course we are using Science of Canopy to make the playing of techniques cheaper, to refund some dice from there and there. Here you can see that is the combination. That it was with one Mualani's bite target. That was one stack and you do 6 damage. Here,
check this out. Best of luck.
I was it does, because this is a replay, it doesn't convey that well, but I was actually debating quite hard whether I should burst or not. But in the end I decided it was fine to burst because I can just skill again and use the technique so that the Mavuika passive gets... okay, now I actually don't remember what I was doing here. I think I'm sacrificing Mavuika now. Okay, I don't remember what I was doing here. But I think I was simply sacrificing Mavuika. Oh yeah, now I remember, yeah. So I decided to sacrifice Mavuika so I can now do the skill, and if the opponent now switches characters, I can get 2 bite targets to whichever character they switch to. Like you see here. I wonder if I got the third one as well. I do not. Probably because I'm afraid that Mavuika is going to take out Mualani at the start of next round, or at least make her low on HP. There's actually, by the way, a story behind this deck. I was supposed to showcase a Sidlali freeze deck, but it was new week, the coins you get from winning games got reset, and I just hopped on to the what is it, the 5-win challenge to quickly get those coins, but I ended up picking this deck because I haven't played it yet, and I was like, oh damn, this is actually a pretty good deck. Here once again, one reason why we are using Sidlali specifically, like I said, you can use another character, but because of the rotation, because of the rotation, switching between Mavuika and Mualani, Mavuika often ends up taking a lot of damage. Which is why you want another character that synergizes well with Mualani to be the third one, the off-field one. You also, because one character is basically at the start of the game, the first 2 rounds, most often the one character is always off-field, the third one here. Like, it doesn't need to be Sidlali, it can be another character, but it's good. I'd say Sidlali is very good there because of her talent card, which buffs both pyro and both hydro damage, no matter which, if not both, of your characters. Like, whichever one of these is alive, Sidlali can buff the damage and synergize well. Like, okay, with Mualani a little less, but because of freeze reaction, you only really need Mualani's burst and Sidlali can work from there. Because you can just freeze the opponents, which procs the passive, it procs the talent card. And makes the burst do more damage that way. Oh, also, I think in my previous video I have spread misinformation. Sidlali's talent card does not buff swirl reactions, that was my mistake. It buffs summons, it buffs characters, but it does not increase swirl damage. Unless I have once again mistaken something at some point. But there you see a meta deck down, and let's just jump right into the next replay. And here you see we are actually up against a stall deck. Well, that's a stall variant. Why are they using Kirara and not Yo-Yo? I do not know, but let them play what they want to play.
Let's go!
Now, of course, the one thing that is good about this deck, like, Mualani is extremely good against stall decks. Because, like, if the stall deck just wraps around, all you need to do is stack the bite target over and over and over again. Also, quickly as a side note, Dawn Winery is not as beneficial as I originally thought when I made this deck. I've since replaced Dawn Winery with simply changing shifts, because once again Mavuika's 2-cost motorbike technique and Mualani's own technique basically render Dawn Winery useless, and you might as well just play changing shifts, because you swap around normally very little. Also, as a secondary note, some of you might remember, when Mualani first came out, she was quite popular, which ended up with people using a lot of characters with reviving mechanics to counter Mualani, because what use is a nuke if the opponent can only take, let's say, 6 damage and 10 revives. Well, like you saw in last game, 1 stack of bite target there, with Mavuika's passive when she has Night Soul points, does exactly 6 damage. Meaning that this combination actually makes Mualani much more versatile even when against reviving characters, since most reviving characters have 6 HP. That being all the Abyss lectors. Of course we have cryo cubes, but if you count, they are just instead of 6 HP, that's 8 HP, that just means you need 2 bite targets instead of 1. And here you see what I was talking about at the start of the game.
Oh, what a
Stahl is a bad matchup against Mualani,
I'll be in my
because you can stack the bite targets without any worry in the world. And of course, because it's a Stahl deck, they are doing little to no damage to our team. Like you can see, the Day of Resistance is mostly wasted. Only half of it used. Right, what else is there to say about the deck? Right, I'm using Mavuika's talent card, 2 copies, and the conductor's top hat. This was partly because the talent card is just an easy way to get Night Soul points back on Mavuika. But secondly,
bond is strong.
at first I did not remember that the 2-cost Mavuika technique fixes your dice. Because I've only really ever used the 3-cost. I mean, even the plan with the talent cards was that you can pick the 3-cost, you have the conductors, so play the conductors on Mualani, it fixes your dice and gets a pyro application on the opponent, but you don't really need that. You can use other tricks as well. Let's say if your third character wasn't Sidlali, who can only really use her skill once, you could play the conductor on your third character and use that as a way to get a pyro application and easy damage with your, or at least threaten big damage with your third character. Here once again, what I was talking about earlier, Mavuika often gets taken out early, so it's good that our third character is someone who still works together with Mualani. In this case, Sidlali, who can just simply freeze the opponent.
Woohoo! Let's
Also, Sidlali's skill is good at keeping Mualani alive, and herself of course, so which means you can get more stacks of bite target and still threaten to easily take out the opponent.
catch an epic wave. Take care of the game.
And here, well, you can see this is practically already game over. I mean, what are they gonna do next round? I'm just going to freeze. Actually, the reason why, like last round, I did not use Sidlali's skill was because I was seeking this setup you see right here. I wanted a double freeze.
Leave me alone.
Here we are searching for the talent card because it would be an instant freeze on Cookie, but our opponent already gave up despite not instantaneously freezing. But let's get to the next game. And for our next game we have a Conwhale. Ghost Guan here is still living in the past. Like, the glory days of that deck have long since faded. They are nothing but a distant memory.
Woohoo! Let's go.
But I mean, might as well include this one as well. Well, I've yapped about stuff and things enough. Here we can actually, in this, because this matchup is not interesting. That deck is no longer strong. But here you see, the one good thing about this rotation we do is that any 3-cost setup card can easily be played. Because Mualani you need 3 dice, and for Mavuika you need 2 dice. You know, skill, technique, skill. So cards like Laiben, like you saw there, the new food card, 3-cost food card that gives you free swaps and whatnot. they are very good in this deck, because round 1 you can get the setup ready, and you can also get save dice for the following round by whatever means you can. And if you don't get any setup cards, you can always just play the technique. So yeah, and of course, like I said earlier, the free swaps aren't that important. Like I just made this deck in regards to my previous Mualani decks, which, well, before Mavuika, Mualani needed a lot of free swaps to be like properly viable, because you needed to switch around a lot. But with Mavuika, it's not that necessary, which is why, once again, you can switch out the free swaps, the non-binaries, for whatever you feel like using. Though I do say the 3-cost setup cards are very good for you to have. But for example, if you are not using Sitlali, you can for example have the 2-cost Golden Droop. It's Golden Droop Reward, I think, the better version. You can just, for example, use those ones and have like, I don't know, Diluc maybe? Or Chongyun? Or Ayaka here instead of Sitlali, like, those all work. But yeah, like if you want to spice up the deck, you can. There's a lot of stuff you can switch out, because this combination, the Mavuika Mualani combination, it needs so little work, as you can see here. And voila, you can see Mualani has the burst ready. The opponent isn't even threatening to like take out Mualani before that.
Whatever you need.
And here, lastly, we swap to Sitlali, because, you know, these two are low and we might as well freeze one of the opponent's characters instantaneously. And once again, who uses Conwell in this day and age? But then again, some people still use the what is it, the Whale and Kave, yeah, Whale Kave deck. You can still see that even that deck these days, which is like, if you know how to play the game, you can counter that deck very easily. Unless the opponent has like the 5-cost Wave Rider technique and they get really lucky with pulling that one once or twice in a row. Like that card, it screws up Narwhal's burst majestically, because it basically has 1 or 2 usage only. But in that Kave deck, that's like the only way you can actually surprise your opponent, because that sudden nuke. But if you know how to play the game, like even that Kave deck nowadays, it shouldn't be any trouble. Like ever since the Kave nerf, I don't think I've lost to that deck. Maybe once, I think, when I was fooling around with trying out new decks.
Any place.
But yeah, that's the end of this game. We still have a couple more to go, so see you in the next one, which starts right about now, I guess. Now, after that quite amusing prehistoric deck, we are back with stall decks, and like mentioned earlier, Mualani simply counters stall decks, because the longer the game goes on, the longer the opponent is just simply setting themselves up. We are setting the opponent up, then the opponent is setting themselves up to getting nuked by the Mualani burst. And of course the normal attack, but...
Amazing.
Here I wonder, do I play this one? Probably I don't? No, certainly I play this one.
Light it up.
Also, Rana is quite surprising in a stall deck, like, I can see it working, but why? Actually no, hold on, I think in this game why I didn't play Sing Your Heart Out is because at this point I had realized that the freeze wraps aren't that necessary. Like you don't really need freeze wraps, so instead I just decided to go with the talent card since we no longer good proc Liben. And of course because of that we get the Signs of Canopy, which would have given us extra die for when we play that. Play the technique this round, but yeah, that's just my luck. Also, by the way, you can see in some of these, or actually whenever I'm facing a stall deck, you can probably see I sometimes just play cards at times that aren't exactly optimal, but that's just because I have paranoia that everyone is playing either the Junkersaurus or the extreme... What is extreme something? You know, the 4-course that swaps your hands, because it happened a couple of times, and after that I've always been paranoid that it's going to happen again.
Check this out.
That my entire hand just gets yoinked, and I'm not the biggest fan of that card because it's kind of how majestically are they going to let you or your opponent screw up your entire game plan. Like we can already deny the playing of cards, so might as well, you know, let them steal the entire hand. Hey, that's completely fair. But yeah, it's just like the reason I played Signs of Canopy, partly because I was like, if they are going to snipe, here is one of the rare moments where I actually play down Winery.
Leave me alone.
Because I knew I was going to swap to Mualani anyway, so might as well. And also you saw there the conductors, not exactly for the use I was originally planning it to be played, but it's a nice dice fixer to have in a deck like this where you can create 3-cost cards that have a benefit when discarding them.
Let's go. Surf's up.
And yeah, you can already see how this game is going to end. It's, well, at the start of the next round. But yeah, here at the end I don't... Oh, they gave up. Well, I still have one last replay for you, and that's gonna be that. And here we are with the last match. This time we see... Well, this actually resembles the second game in this video. With... Well, this time instead of Kirara we do have Yao Yao. But instead of Barbara they are using Siegewin, which I kind of find surprising because Siegewin and Cookie in the same deck, like... Actually no, hold that way. I don't quite understand why would you want these two in the same deck, because they kind of do the same thing. You know, round 1. Outside of round 1 they serve very different purposes, but in a way these two characters do the same thing. They set up healing and they set up application for the opponent. Like this, of course, Cookie is worse at healing, but better at doing electro application, while a Siege Wind is worse at doing application with only one delayed hydro application, but way better at healing. If the, well, actually no matter how you play it, I think, as long as one of your characters has actually taken damage, or you are on Siege Wind when the first bubble comes out of the deck. But like I understand this combination, but I do not understand having Siege Wind here. Also, this is like here, this is bravery. Dunyasad and a Tabi. I can respect that. Because when the last time I played Tabi was like ages ago. I mean, it's still a good card, it's just that in today's meta you need to be really lucky with your draws to make Tabi actually, you know, be more beneficial than, for example, an artifact engine. Because Tabi is good, but there are more reliable options available. I mean, when eventually Tabi gets the buff that whenever you play, when you play the first, you know, similar buff to Chef Mao. If Tabi ever gets that sort of thing, then Tabi is once again a good card. Like when you play a location support card for the first time, draw one from your deck. Then Tabi is a good card. But as long as it does not have that sort of buff, it's okay, but it's not great. Because once again you are so reliant on actually drawing well, buildings. Our opponent here did draw. Good for them. And well, here you see the sad about Cookie's skill, because -2 HP means that if you had a freeze wrap. Now imagine I had freeze wrap. I could have swapped back to Mualani. That's 2 stacks, which means 5 damage from the normal attack and 3 damage coming from the Mavuika's passive skill, which means we could have taken out Cookie on round 1 if we had changing shifts, which we unfortunately do not. This is, once again, this was played in the Arena of Champions, which means I was unable to change the deck mid challenge. But don't worry, the deck code in the description will have the, well, partly updated, because I still kept conductors for the surprise element for Sitlali mostly. Basically, if you ever run into a situation where you want to discard the 3-cost technique from Mavuika, I decided to keep conductors for that. And secondly, I still kept the sing your heart out food, because there, in the end I decided it was probably better still than having what is it, countdown to showdown, because that card requires good dice, which often means you have to play it the first thing that round, which means the opponent knows that you aren't doing much, because once again, as you saw there, you can threaten big damage on round 1 if you have the correct cards. And once again, you can also just play whatever you feel like playing. Like deck showcases, I do feel like there's only really like, you should play Atea with Mualani. You should play Sitlali's talent card if your other characters are Pyro or Hydro characters. But other than that, the Arcane is probably one of the few that I would actually recommend. Like, I think you should use this Arcane, because Mavuika is often threatened by a lot of damage. Because I mean, most opponents know Mavuika is a broken card, it's ridiculously strong, So they want to take out Mavuika, and because how this deck works, how the rotation works, you are most of the time on Mavuika, especially at the start of the game. Like other than that, use whatever, like... Okay, Golden Troops reward is also in my in this deck, because once again, round 1 and 2, you are basically just switching between these two. So whichever third character you have, might as well play Golden Troop and give it to them, because you get value eventually.
Let's do it.
And here you once again see like...
Surf's up.
Oh no, hold on, this is actually... I was not yet... Because 12 HP characters, you know, they do not get taken out that easily.
Catch an epic wave. Yes.
Here...
You blade.
Oh yeah, now I remember. So basically I'm threatening all of their characters. Okay, Yao Yao is like about to go out. But whatever character they switch to, I can still... sorry about that. I can still threaten the burst doing a lot of damage.
Ooh, let's go.
Like so. So even though they have like all of their characters alive, they are still in a rather precarious spot, because once again the summon is on the field. And here the reason why I did not, like I saved the technique specifically so if they do this, firstly we do the skill, because once again the stacks aren't enough, you can count that's 6, 8, and from the pyro 10 damage if we play the talent card, technique card right now. But now, well, it's easily enough.
I swear, it's for medical research.
Reasonable burst. I mean, they know that if they switch character, it's just going to give more value to my Mualani. But I don't think they were expecting this.
My lungs are incurable.
I mean, maybe they were. I don't know. And well, that's gonna be game.
Sorry, Master.
And yeah, that's all for today. Next time I'll try to upload a Sid Lolly Freeze deck, because what's better than causing another Ice Age? See you next time.